9:04. And we're holding this meeting on Zoom due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, and we're allowed to do so due to the changes made at the state level to the Open Meetings Act. So call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
We do have some public comment. Mimi, if you want to introduce yourself to the group here.
Thank you, Cindy. Hi, I'm Mimi. I'm Mimi Kelso Grant. I teach at Chicago Public Schools. I teach at Gale in the middle school, and I also have a small nonprofit organization called Community Makery that supports the youth of Howard area. And we provide STEAM, science, tech, engineering, arts, math, and more opportunities to our youth. We've got so many opportunities around the city and beyond, but there seem to be, for most of our youth in the Howard area, they're out of their grasp. So we find those opportunities and we bring them to our youth. So thank y'all for inviting me. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, Mimi. Renee is still connecting to audio, but I wanted to introduce Renee to everybody too, for those that maybe don't know her. She's the owner of our public house, which is now part of SSA 19 because we enlarged the boundaries. So that's pretty exciting. And I don't know if we have any other public comment type of stuff. Maybe give her another couple of minutes. But in the meantime, if anyone wants to make a motion on the minutes.
I'll make a motion on the minutes.
All right, thank you.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Cindy, can I ask that you do an intro, please?
On what, minutes or?
Everybody, just who's
Okay.
attending.
All right, intros. So I'm Cindy Plan at RPBA, program manager for SSA 19 and also 54 and 43. Sandy, you want to go next?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Price. I'm the executive director of the Rogers Park Business Alliance. I'll kick it to Charlotte.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Walters. I'm the owner of Lost Eras, which is on the corner of Howard and Greenview.
Gail. I'm Gail Howard. I live on Howard and I work from home, so I'm Howard Street. I'm commissioner because I'm a Howard, and that's my story. I've been a commissioner now for, God, it's been about 4+ years. I've lost track.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. My name is Carrie Sullivan, not Kinga. I end up using, that's my boss at work. It's we use Zoom and it just keeps logging me into her account when I go on Zoom. But anyways, my name is Carrie and I'm an ensemble emeritus member with the Factory Theater, which is on Howard Street. So I help represent the interests of Factory, and I'm also the chairperson, is that what I'm called, of the SSA 19. I've been on this for about 5 years.
I'm Lizzie Kreinler. I'm with A5 Branding and Digital Marketing. We've worked with Rogers Park Business Alliance for a decade. Is that? Sandy could probably speak to that. I think it's been a while. And have named and brand and market Howard Street, Chicago. So we're behind the Facebook, Instagram website, and help RPBA put on the big street festival, Chalk Howard Street, and then this year's virtual version, Virtual Chalk Howard Street.
I would say a generation, Lizzie, because I think A5 is the one who branded us, Rogers Park Business Alliance, and that was in 2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Karen. Oh, I'm sorry. Karen Forte, City Chicago, DPD SSA liaison, trying to figure out how to make her camera pop out of the computer.
There should be a button at the bottom of your screen, like sort of toward the left, to toggle your camera on and off.
I'm
You could
gonna
always
find-
put a kitten up there.
I know, right?
I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat.
And Renee's here. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Do you want to introduce yourself for Karen?
Oh, yes. Karen, I am Renee Labrana. I own our public house over in Jarvis Square, which is just now becoming part of the Howard SSA.
Good to meet you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Renee is getting ready to submit a commissioner application, so that's exciting.
Great. Yay.
Because we have a bunch of vacant seats still, which I'm working to fill. All right, so we've got everybody. We've approved the minutes. That brings us to old business. The first item under that heading being commissioner recruitment. So just sort of an update on that. I've been talking with Renee about submitting an application. So that's exciting. I've also been in contact with Lewis Edwards from I'm So Hungry. I think he came to either last meeting or the meeting before that. And I invited him to this one, but I didn't hear back from him. He's been on the road, but he's expressed an interest as well. Because we've been talking about trying to get somebody, west of Clark, in addition to Mike there at Hares R Us, which I texted him this morning too, and haven't heard from him either. But he got approved, but we would like to get some more folks from sort of that western end. And then now that we're adding Jarvis, we also need to bring on a person or two from Jarvis, which Renee will be one of those folks. And we'll be reaching out to some of the other folks over that way about potentially joining as commissioners and submitting applications. So progress is being made, but it's slow going just because once people apply, the vetting at the city level kind of takes a while, usually a couple of months. So that's where we are with it. Any questions on commissioner recruitment?
Have you talked to Kelly?
I did talk to her, and she has had a couple people leave the salon, so she's been covering extra shifts and trying to do recruitment and just doesn't have the bandwidth right now, because I did have that conversation with her.
I stopped in her shop too. It's excellent.
Yeah, the new space is really nice.
New space. Yeah, when I went to Charlotte's space, I went to the salon too to see it.
Yeah. The only downside is that by the time that she opened in the new space, we had somebody trying to open Legacy Barber College down the street. When they signed the lease, Cali wasn't opened yet, and so they didn't need a special use when they signed the lease. But now Cali is open and they have to do special use.
Oh God.
So that's happening now.
I got somebody they can talk to if they need to.
Yeah, I don't know if they've submitted
please.
it yet. They've been sort of dragging their feet, which is odd. Like, guys, we really need to get this in. It takes a while.
Yeah.
Aaron, if you have a way to expedite that, please.
No, I have a friend that so.
Yes.
So all right.
What is special use?
For zoning, because Howard is a B3 zoning district, there is a rule that personal services establishments, including salons, barbershops, nail salons, all that type of stuff, it's allowed by right as long as you are not within 600 feet of another personal services establishment.
Yep. Wow.
So
yeah,
you can't have too many, otherwise you need special use.
You can't have
and
too
we
many
have
hair
too many now.
salons on Howard Street, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of people in DPD that can help with that. Steve Valenciano and Patrick Murphy.
Yeah, and I think Torrance at the ward office has been in touch with Patrick Murphy.
Patrick Murphy, okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did any of you see that there is a for sale sign on the building that had Biddy Mulligan's and Beachview Liquors? He's asking for 2.6 million.
Yeah, it's been for sale for probably about 10 years now, off and on. It's one of those kind of things.
Oh, good, because the owners of the liquor store, who are very nice, have been there 40 years. and
Yeah.
they don't want to
I
move
can't
out.
see anything.
That one's not actually on my list of buildings for sale, although I have several that have been added recently in the Howard area, which we'll get to towards the end. But thanks for that update. I'll look into that. Next on the agenda, we had marketing in 2021 events, which is why Lizzie's here. So I want to give her a chance to get started on that stuff. Lizzie, if you want to screen share, you should be able to. If not, let me know, and I think I can make you a host.
All right. Give me a second. Yeah, I can do it. Great. All right. So this is our standard monthly report at these meetings of Howard Street marketing. So last month, the commissioners gave us the go-ahead for bus shelters, and those are going to go up on Monday. I'll show you those plus Instagram, Facebook, SEO, SEM, and some next steps. So we have 6 bus shelters going up all along Sheridan, featuring Athena, Good to Go, I Am Beauty, I'm So Hungry, and Reds. They start Monday. The buy is for 4 weeks. Some of our bus shelters from the 4-week buy in September are still up because they don't take down ads until there's another paid advertiser. So if you see these going on longer, that explains why. It'd be free time. And they did bonus 2, we paid for 4. And they list all the businesses at the bottom. And I know it looks small here, but you know, these are bus shelters that you see for JC2Co on the streets. Instagram, we are increasing our followers. We're at 713 followers. Reach and impressions are higher than average for us, a 33% increase over last month. You'll see that some of the same photography. This is the new photography we took last fall. So we have Reds, Recyclery. So we promoted their Tailwind for Tools event, and also the mosaics that they were, someone from the Recyclery was using old metal, old metal scraps to fill potholes in an artistic way. So we had some Recyclery things to promote this month. And then we always have brand language about Howard Street, home to more than 80 languages spoken daily and a plethora of globally flavored restaurants. Howard Street in Rogers Park is a place where you can be you and all are welcome. We usually show street art or something like that. Hip Circle, Elevation Lofts, and the Shop Where Your Heart Is February promotion for shopping local. That is Rogers Park Business Alliance's initiative, Rogers Park wide. We're helping promote it on Howard Street with this very, very cool graphic. Walk Chalk Howard Street ended in the end of December. We're still seeing increased engagement at about the same rate that we were during the Walk Chalk Howard Street event. And for anyone on the call who wants a debrief on Walk Chalk Howard Street, I'm happy to go into that. Facebook, we've surpassed 5,000 followers and we're steadily increasing 10% a month. These are, again, the professional ads that we're running. We're increasing performance on these, the likes campaign. So we're running paid campaigns to increase our likes. Last month, these ads, in 2 weeks, the reach was 6,000. So this month in 3 weeks, it's 18,000, which is a great growth for just, I think, $30 more in budget. Top posts, so again, you're going to see a lot of the, similar message, similar stories. The I'm So Hungry, the comments were, I think, 101 engagement, 101 reactions, 5 comments, 8 shares. This really, there were lots of his friends and family who chimed in about how great it was to see him. So that was all really positive feedback. Website traffic, it's always a little bit lower in January than other times of the year. So we're at 520, which is right on par with January 2020, and a little bit lower. Last month it was in the 600s, and it gets closer to 1,000 when we're running events. We also run Google ads. So when people search, things to do in Chicago or things to do in Rogers Park, our website, we bid on the keywords that could show our text ad at the top of their search results. And this has been really steady. So we've kept the budget the same, kept a lot of the keywords the same, and the click-through rate of 2.5 is really high. So that means that for the people we're showing the ad to, we get a good number clicking on it. That's what the ads look like. So what's next? We had talked about a lot of these ideas last month, since we've really focused on the bus shelter ads. And I think now would be the time for RPBA and A5 to team up on any of the following ideas. It seemed like feedback was like pretty positive on these ideas last time. We added to this list a local shopping guide. We just produced like an issue, like those digital catalogs that flip, a local shopping guide of about 60 businesses in Oak Park. I can send it around or share it, where you can click. It has a bit about the business owner and their story, and then you can click through to products directly to their website. So, and I think we had talked too about one commercial website for Howard Street businesses where people could go to Howard Street, Chicago, and that would be an e-commerce site for Howard Street. So I think let's call Cindy, Sandy, me, we should, and anyone else, make a plan and pick some of the items off this list to work on, if we'd like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the e-commerce idea is really, really good. I think it would help Howard Street a lot.
Great. Any other like questions or feedback?
I know we did have some discussion last time on incorporating TikTok for social, because I know Charlotte, mentioned that she'd had some success there with folks coming in to do their TikTok videos and stuff. Particularly with the next round of virtual Chalk Howard, I think that could be, definitely worth looking into. As an old person myself, I have no idea how any of that works, but yeah.
Yeah, we're not seeing too many communities, like either chambers or municipalities getting on TikTok. So not to say, not to do it, just that you'd be on the forefront of it. But yeah, TikTok advertising certainly used to reach, teens, a really young audience. And then since COVID, reaches old people as well, as TikTok would say, like over 40. Which I wouldn't say is old, but it definitely skews younger and could be really creative and a fun way to engage around some of the artistic events. So I think, yeah, it seems like interest is still there. So it's just a matter of, us taking this offline and kind of operationalizing it.
I've been noticing that more and more of the students from Loyola and Northwestern are coming over to Howard Street. And I'm wondering, Lizzie, have you thought of ways how we can reach out to those campuses?
Yeah, through social media and Google Ads, we have audiences set for both campuses. We can certainly do more, on the ground or word of mouth or events that would target them. Obviously, safe.
Or maybe a coupon. Maybe like show your student ID and get something.
It's a great idea.
10% discount or
Yeah, and then as far as shop local promotions, we do have going on right now the Shop Where Your Heart Is weekly raffles. We've been promoting that. So we just finished up week 2, so we're now in week 3. So for each of the 3 weeks, we're just and then that one's Rogers Park wide, similar to the Live Love Shop, which we're still doing the data analysis on that, which just on a preliminary basis for Live Love Shop, we did have I think 20 or 30 different submissions from Howard Street businesses, which was really exciting. And that wasn't including the Jarvis Square businesses, since y'all weren't part of the SSA until first of the year. I am counting you as SSA 19 businesses for Shop Where Your Heart Is. And we've definitely been seeing those receipts get submitted as well, although I don't have any graphs or data yet put together. Pretty encouraging to see, some of that growth. But we do have 2 more weeks left to Shop Where Your Heart Is. So, $25 receipts, you can submit them online or at the office, and you get entered to win. There's 3 different gift card levels each week. So, 25, 50, so on and so forth. And then at the end of February, which we'll actually be doing that drawing, I think the first week of March, all of the submissions for the whole month go into one big drawing for $1,000 worth of grocery gift cards from our independent grocery stores. So we're promoting that. So Lizzie, I don't know if you've been able to do too much with that, for, specific to Howard Street, because we've seen some SSA 19 businesses submitted for that, but not a ton yet.
Yeah, we've run 2 boosted ads on the Facebook page, but we can do more.
All right.
More. That's
cool.
Good feedback. And maybe this is, I don't want to slip in on the agenda, but maybe for future conversation, or maybe this is offline too. Right now we're still, Howard Street Chicago's platforms still focus on the old SSA 19 like boundaries and businesses in those boundaries. So if the website or, photography or anything needs to expand to include the new businesses, and obviously the name, we need to address that too. So if there needs to be a conversation about branding and kind of the marketing parameters, that would be something to consider that, I'd want to be a part of.
That's an excellent point, because you're right. The whole being inclusive of Jarvis now really changes the whole brand of like what we're, we want to make sure to be. Yeah, I think that's probably a whole separate maybe session. I mean, I hate to think that we start all over again with the logo and everything, but.
Well, and maybe like from a visitor standpoint or a resident standpoint, nobody needs to know, we can always just say both Howard Street and Jarvis are part of this SSA, but we could keep Howard Street how it is. Mm-hmm. And that's just sort of like behind the scenes, details, logistics. And then, Jarvis would have its own brand and its own like parallel site and platforms.
I see. So
I think there are different ways we could.
They don't have to. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I think there are options, right, of how to do it. And I think your point of we don't want to necessarily scrap Howard Street since we've like worked so hard to build it. But yeah, I think that would be. Those are 2 ideas that of how to approach it.
We could look at
there
the
might
logo.
Be more.
We could look at that logo and we could say, okay, it says Howard Street, it's HS, and then you could put J, and just kind of rework the logo itself. It could say HSJ. It might be cool.
Or you could put a plus after it and have people wonder what the plus is for.
Yeah, true. I think a graphic designer could probably work with our logo and just add something. We know a lot of artists, so somebody will come up with something cool.
The little stick on the H could be a J.
Yes.
Curly.
Potentially. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of potential there. I mean, I think we'd want to, at least for me, I would prefer to engage with the team that created it originally to at least start with, out of respect for them and the art that they created, so that they could at least have first crack at amending it, if that's the direction we want to go. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Lizzie that it's something worth discussing, and probably a bigger can of worms than we want to get into.
Yeah, that may end up.
I didn't mean to.
No,
derail anything.
Like I figured that it was gonna, start kind of creeping in, and that's part of why I wanted to include Renee in the discussion as well. And Renee, I'll ask, if you've got any thoughts, to weigh in. I know you've done a lot as far as, coordinating the marketing for Jarvis prior to its incorporation into the SSA. If there's any, thoughts or feelings that you want to share on that?
I would say, I would agree with Carrie and first approach, the artist on that for logo, and then probably build off of that. Because no one wants to take away from anyone else. What we want to do is have an enhanced SSA.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
All right,
Yeah, well
cool.
put.
The other sort of item under the marketing and events piece, while Lizzie's with us, was starting to talk about plans for Virtual Chalks Howard Street Part 2 this summer. The advice that we've been given from the city has been not to plan for any in-person events, even into summer of 21, which, leaves us, sort of leaning on virtual events again. We had some success with the Chalk Howard Street program last year. Is that something we want to do again? Is there anything that we want to change? I'll throw that out there for discussion.
Do we know right off the top of our heads if Nate is available?
I have
haven't
not spoken
checked.
to him. Lizzie, I don't know if you have.
I know he's in Florida.
Yeah, he's been
He's
doing a
yeah, I
lot
got
with
that.
Disney. It looks really cool.
He does.
Yeah, right. He's in Florida. I think it's 2 months, and then he's coming back, so it's not a move.
Okay.
And
I just feel like he's a big part of all that. Not that we have to plan around him, but he's such a great anchor. If at all possible, I feel like he should be involved. And
yeah, I'll reach out. I think the way we left things was really positive, and love to work together again. And I think his what he was interested in kind of improving on is making sure we're actually getting people in the doors of Howard Street businesses. So it's not just about social media followers, which is great too, because that can translate, but that it sort of gets through to that, not just brand awareness, but also conversion into sales and businesses. So that might look like more art on the street, not necessarily a festival, but him creating something on Howard Street that people can go to, kind of like what we did with the art and windows for Walk Chalk Howard Street, but maybe, I know street closures is a whole thing, but maybe there's something on sidewalks or something he can do outdoors in the summer, or more, if it's just him and, depending on vaccinations and things, if it's just him and one other business owner in person, and that's more of like a filmed video that we can, instead of a Instagram live, maybe there are different platforms that show him on Howard Street or have the art on Howard Street and really try to drive people to the businesses. So that was kind of the main thing the strategy wise that we would want to improve on.
would it be appropriate to have a meeting that includes him for like a brainstorming session? Do you think that would be? I mean, I wish he could serve on this SSA himself, because his thinking is so aligned with exactly what we want. It's but organically, it's so cool. I mean, I also really want to be obviously mindful and respectful of his time, but at the same time, being efficient, it's kind of nice to have everybody in the room. And then because it seems like he has these ideas. I mean, I want to do whatever is appropriate, but also, makes sense for everybody and is like the best use of everyone's times, because I feel like we have such a treasure in him. I just want to figure out how we can maximize that treasurement quotient, which is something I just made up.
A good word.
But it made perfect sense.
And just for everyone on the call, so Nate Baranowski is a professional 3D chalk artist. And in 2019, when we did the street festival, he was our featured 3D artist and did this amazing penguin piece on this 100-degree day. And he lives in Hyde Park. So then we contracted with him during COVID to do these Instagram live events where he interviewed a business owner and created 3D art, like tabletop size, for their business. And we promoted businesses that way. And then that art went to the business, and we promoted a kind of like an art walk where you could go from business to business and see the pieces. So, and yeah, I agree with Carrie. He's sort of like this unicorn gem treasure, because he was great at hosting those events. he really knew how to talk to business owners and make it really natural and comfortable. He's this amazing artist. He's really fast. And he's in Chicago. So it just sort of like, and he's got this great talent for 3D art, which is special.
Yeah.
And we can kind of own that.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
really want to, since we
yeah.
have the snow globe art from this past year, but we got it kind of late into the holiday season. Like, I really want to try and do something with that for like Small Business Saturday or holiday season again. You know, maybe we promote that to get people out on the street, you know, come take your picture in the snow globe and do your Small Business Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great thing to put on the plan for the year.
We also do
I can reach out to Nate. Go ahead, Renee.
We do also have Jarvis shut down till next December, and there has to be a 14-foot lane
Okay.
that we have to keep open all the time.
Got it. Why is that?
Because we are part of the expanded outdoor dining, and even though it is closed down and we have a barrier there, they need it in case a emergency vehicle needs to go through.
Got it.
Yeah, that could be a really unique opportunity.
Yeah.
Once these tons of snow piles go away.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to reach out to Nate and coordinate with Cindy if he either comes to a commissioner meeting for discussion or if we set up something else. And I don't see him saying no to that. He's, you know, really in it and invested. So,
You know, there's also those people that are the gymnasts that practice over at Gale School. They're the ones that did the for Halloween. They did this thing down at University of Illinois. Did you hear about that? They come every year. And
yeah, it's the cirque wheel people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, that would
They
be
performed at
something-
Chuck Howard Street too.
Mm-hmm.
It what? What did you say, Lizzie?
They performed at Chuck Howard Street.
Oh, they did. Okay. So, you know, we could reach out to them also. They're very cool people. And, you know, something like that might be real interesting for people to, you know, watch.
Yeah, anything outside. I mean, that's where I kind of like that treasure hunt idea too, just to kind of, it's just hard to gauge if they're going to be like going outside again. I think people are going to want to go outside, but at the same time, they're still going to be freaked out about going outside. So I know, I feel like there's going to be like a lot of, so like whatever we can do to provide people maybe with an experience that's external, but also still feels safe and like you can have your space.
Yeah.
Probably the kind of things we want to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think definitely, I think there'll be more room to do some more of the like smaller scale outdoor programming this year, but we've pretty much been told like the big old festivals are like not gonna happen, not gonna get permits. So those are sort of the parameters that we're working in. So, all right. Well, Lizzie, I guess we'll try and reach out to Nate and see if he's available to jump on the call for the March meeting, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, and it sounds like we need to make a 2021 plan and get some of these initiatives kind of scheduled out on the calendar. So I'll send you some time, Cindy. And Sandy, we can meet.
Sounds good.
Cool. And I'd love to be a part of it. I mean, if you can't make it to a meeting and we do something separate, I'd love to be a part of that call.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate all these great ideas. Really, really great.
Thanks, Lizzie.
All right. If you want to move on to the new business section here. Top of the list, A, is this revenue shortfall. I'll toggle over real quick to, we finally got financials from our CPA kind of late for 2020 year in review. I'm embiggening it so everyone can read it, hopefully. But we typically every month or so get an email from Mark Roshan at the city that spells out like, you know, how much we're being sent from tax collections for each of the SSAs. And it was was it September, October, or October, November, where we like didn't get that email from them. And Sandy and I were like, hey, did you not send us the email for this? And he came back and said, it wasn't that I didn't send you the email. It was that there was no tax collections those months. So on the revenue side for 2020, we basically did not collect all of the revenue that we had budgeted for. And Howard's actually in a better position than a lot of the SSAs, but we did still come up short, where we only collected, about 73% of the revenue that we had been expecting, which isn't fantastic, but it's also, I think a sign of things to come in 2021 due to coronavirus. People are just, not paying or not able to pay bills, including their property tax. So what does that mean for us? It means I think that we're going to need to be a little bit more conservative than we otherwise would be on some of our spending. Just because like we sort of know that that's out there, and we kind of knew that it would be. But it's, it's not great news, but it's not as bad as it could be. I don't know, Sandy, if there's anything else you want to add here to this.
No, I think you said it very well. There are a lot of SSAs that have gotten, less collected, and we also have money in the bank. So, yeah. Do you wanna click to the balance sheet, Cindy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's our balance sheet.
Like this is tax revenue that it might be deferred, right? Like these are people who are behind that they might catch up, and then it could potentially come in later.
It could potentially, yes, but we've learned not to count on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it could come in next year. It could come in 5 years. People could catch up with it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of business owners that request a property tax exemption or whatever if there's a vacant storefront or reduction in property taxes. So yeah, it could. But so the balance sheet shows that there's like about $162,000 still in the bank. So we just want everybody to know that when we budget, and like when we did the 2021 budget back in June of 2020, that we may not be getting all the revenue that we're expecting. So just so you know that this year you got in, like, what was it, 73%?
Yeah.
And it may be less next year. SSA 54 on Sheridan Road, theirs was 55%.
And that's a small budget to start with. So really, I'm going to have a fun year with them.
So we just want to make sure everybody's aware, and we're going to be conservative in our spending.
Yeah. Oh.
I think usually we are actually.
Yeah, we are, Charlotte.
We have been. I mean, looking at our overall like spending, based on the financials here, we spent 58% of budgeted in customer attraction.
Scroll all the way down to the bottom, Cindy, to see the total.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
total expense. So yeah, we spent 69% of what was budgeted, and we got 73% of the revenue that was budgeted. So like we're in pretty good shape.
Right. So,
and
but
the fact that we have a surplus in the bank is a big deal.
Right. So see this, the number, the $320,000 that we actually spent. Right here, Cindy. If you, right. If you can go over just a couple, right where you are.
Oh yeah, total expense, but it's cutting off. Yeah.
Yeah. So that 320 that we actually spent from January to December, just know. So we took in $337,000. We spent $320,000. So we did spend almost all the money that we brought in 2020, but we spent less than we budgeted, and we brought in less than we budgeted. But our spending and our revenue and our expenses were pretty much right on target.
Yeah. And hopefully, I think, Sandy, I know you've probably had this conversation with Ron, like hopefully we'll have financials more than twice a year.
Yeah. This year it should be a little bit easier.
Yeah, last year we only got one in August, and we got this one at the end of the year. So
right, I think what totally threw him off this year was them changing the deadline for taxes. From April, July 15th. It threw off like everybody's accounting. But so our surplus. Just one last thing. Our surplus for 2020 was at $17,000. So it wasn't a huge amount of money. So to Charlotte's point, thank goodness that we do have money in the bank so that we can hopefully do all the things that we want to do this year.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we're looking over the whole picture of everything that we do, I don't think that there's really any particular area that we should cut back on
No.
in any way. I mean, I think everything's pretty evenly handled.
I agree. Thank you, Charlotte.
Good job, you guys.
Thank you. We'll go back to the agenda. All right, so we've covered that. Next up on the camera front, so we've been working with Ron at Audio Electronics. He should be scheduling the work to replace the SSA cameras at the currency exchange within the next week or two. He sent me confirmation, I guess on Friday it was, that he'd received the initial deposit that he needed in order to order supplies and materials. So he'd be scheduling that when weather permits, because he's having to do some work outside and on the roof to get cameras swapped out. And then in the meantime, Renee and some of the other businesses on Jarvis had inquired about getting some outdoor cameras onto the right of way, because there's the street closure in the outdoor dining area. That it might make sense to do that to deter people messing with the outdoor furniture that's there, and some of the other issues that they've had as far as minor crime and things like that. So wanted to bring that to this group. I anticipate, he hasn't given me a quote yet, but I did reach out to Ron and ask for what kind of expense we'd be looking at to add a camera system on Jarvis there. My expectation is that it probably would be pretty similar to the bill that we're on the hook for the currency exchange, because he's replacing that entire system from scratch almost. About 3,000.
How many cameras do they feel like they need on Jarvis?
Renee, do you have any thoughts on that as to how many cameras you're figuring?
I would probably say, I would say 4 would cover everything, including the parking lot, which
Right.
is where the currency exchange is. Although we don't have many problems there, but we have had these groups of kids that have started hanging out, and they mugged a guy in the middle of the street when he walked out of Taste because all the other businesses were closed.
Yeah, I think cameras would be a great idea.
All right. So I'll see then, from Ron as to how much we'd be looking at, and Renee, I may send him your way to come see, where you're envisioning to put them.
Mm-hmm.
And Renee, are you willing to host the equipment?
Sure.
Yeah, so
I'm sure any one of us would.
Okay, so we always have someone like Charlotte has the DVR. Is it a DVR still?
Yeah,
it is.
in her shop with, and then what we've done with in the past, and the way it works the best is we set up the internet with AT&T Uverse, and then we just ask them to send the billing to us, so we also pay the internet costs, the ongoing cost for the internet, as long as there's some, the equipment needs to be somewhere on site. So we just need somebody to host it, and, let us know if anything goes wonky with it. We'll send somebody out to maintain it, but we just need somebody to host it.
Sure.
Yeah, Renee, the beautiful thing about this particular guy's systems is, he's got a way of putting the cameras on your smartphone, and then you can just remotely access whatever the camera is seeing at any time.
Yeah,
which is very comforting, It's
right. My current one for our public house is like that, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good setup.
If someone could send me his name, that would be great, because we do need to set up a system for the tavern for cameras.
Absolutely. I'll put that in my notes. I'll send you his contact information after this.
Great, thanks.
All right, item C, snow complaints. We know you got them because our contractor is awful. There's not much more I can say about that. They sent me an email on Monday saying they just aren't coming because it's too cold.
So I just talked to Brandon, and I asked him to go over there. He said it doesn't look like they've been out still.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's over on Howard Street.
That's true. They have not come at all. Not
Okay.
at all. Not since this whole giant snowstorm.
So they're not answering their phones.
Nope.
We're calling, we're emailing. We got an email saying that it was too dangerous for their employees to come out in the cold.
So how much have we paid them so far?
Not much. We just at signing of the contract. So,
Just
you know,
the signing of the contract, no money?
Yeah, they sent us an invoice last month and we refused to pay it because they did such a shoddy job.
I'm gonna look right now and tell you, but we did not pay the last
please.
invoice they sent us, which was before this all happened because they had done such a horrible job the time before that.
Yeah, please don't pay them.
No, we're not,
They have not lived up to not even 25% of their contract. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I spoke to Frank at Edgewater for SSA 26. They used the same contract because they were in the same bind where they had been using Clean Slate. Clean Slate announced in September they're not doing snow this year, and everyone had to RFP at the last minute. So TSI was like the only one responding to those RFPs. And now we know why. Because Edgewater's been having all the same problems we are.
So they sent us an invoice on February 1st and we did not pay it.
My volunteers, that help me run the store, they can't, there's a lot of them are elderly and they can't come in because they're afraid to get off the L because of the conditions of the sidewalk. So, if that's the volunteers, what about regular people that want to shop? You can't even, it's too dangerous to walk on the sidewalk. It's rough.
This is Karen. Sandy, I'm going to circle back with you because the snow issue, the snow contracts is becoming an issue throughout all the SSAs. And I want to chat internally and externally. I want to talk to some other executive directors and program managers who either have snow contracts or decided not to, and the reasons why. So I'll circle back with you and Cindy on some of my findings. And then I'm going to ask Mark to address this because it's, we didn't have a lot of snow last year, so, or maybe it was more manageable. And then this year, this is occurring across the city. It's too cold, please. This is Chicago, so that's no excuse.
Yeah.
But the issue of where to put the snow and all of that, I think everybody is having that. So I kind of want to talk with the city about this too. So I'll circle back with you all on that, and then commissioners, they can tell you what we came up with, and maybe you all can be creative in your thinking of how you want to manage the snow going forward.
Yeah, and so Karen, if you have any suggestions of alternative methods for the snow removal.
Right, that's what I want to talk to other executive directors about, because some are opting not to even provide snow removal, but it's not because of what happened this year. It's some other issues that keep reoccurring.
So we manage 4 special service areas.
Right.
Exactly. Two no longer do snow removal.
Yep.
And just because it became too much of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And so just to remind everybody that snow removal is ultimately the responsibility of the property owner or the business, not the SSA.
Oh.
And we would constantly get complaints from people that it wasn't done good enough.
Right.
So they come through with their little ATV with the blade on it, and it still may leave like an inch of snow on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And owners are pissed that the sidewalk's not completely clear.
Yeah.
And, the SSAs are large areas. So we've just decided to not do it to save the money and save the headaches in 2 of our 4 SSAs. And the 2 that we are doing, 19 and 43, this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Okay.
That a snow removal company is not coming out because it's too cold.
It's
You know,
ridiculous.
you're a snow removal company.
And Chicago,
Chicago.
it's not even really that cold.
So for those
Yeah.
SSAs that don't do it, what do they, so they just remind the property owners like, hey, this is your responsibility, and they just put the
Yeah.
onus on them.
We do.
Pretty
So
much.
Carrie, yeah, so what we did, especially the ones where we've done snow removal and then we've stopped, right? So all of a sudden we're not doing snow removal anymore. So we created this flyer and it says, you know,
No.
these properties are not
Yeah.
right. We will no longer be providing snow removal services. We list the ordinance. So which, you know, you're not only are you responsible, the city ordinance says that it has to be done by a certain time.
Yeah.
Depending on when snow has stopped, you know. Not that I can see inspectors coming out to ticket anybody, but
Right.
with this,
They came out to our street,
they did.
our
What?
emergency lane.
Wow.
After the very first snow, we had shoveled and there was probably an inch that had fallen after we shoveled, and we got tags on all of our doors of the businesses.
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm like,
What?
it's cleaner than it has ever been when you have come through.
Oh my God.
So there's us women out there shoveling it.
But anyway, we also post it all over social media and we send out an email blast and all that kind of stuff. But we do flyer the businesses within the SSA just to let them know we're not doing it anymore. It's on you.
Do you get a lot of like people that live in the area who are unhappy about that? Because I can't imagine.
You know what? When we stopped doing Sheridan Road, we got one angry call from a business owner who should not have received the flyer because they weren't actually in the SSA. So they had never had the snow removal services before. And they were complaining that they weren't going to get it. And that was it. We were, you know, we're prepared, right? We're ready to respond, and we did not get any complaints.
So Sandy, who's going to do the, like, say for instance, the blocks around the garden?
they're supposed to. They just haven't been.
Oh, the people that have the garden are supposed to do the shoveling?
Whoever's there.
She's a cat.
Yeah.
The garden has a lease with the city of Chicago, so they're ultimately responsible for that. But
Who are you going to give the ticket to?
Right.
They don't shovel at all.
Or like, what about like the parking lot, like behind the theater building where we are? Like, would that be Jay? Would that be?
Yeah, he owns the
Property owner.
That's Jay.
I have to leave at
Not us.
10.
Me too.
Oh,
I got a meeting.
Oh yeah. All right. We'll try to wrap this up, but we're keeping on top of snow to the
Do you
best that we
Do you need
can.
me for anything after 10? Because I have to leave. Is there anything?
I don't know.
you-
There's not really anything to vote on at this
Okay,
point.
okay.
So if you need to take off,
Okay.
we can just sort of, yeah.
Thanks, Gail.
Okay.
Thank you
thanks.
for being here.
I'll be on for 3 more minutes and then I'm
All
gone.
right.
Me too. Me too. I have a 10 o'clock also. Go ahead.
Nice
Yeah.
not seeing you, Karen.
Huh?
Nice not seeing you.
Thank you, my dear.
Oh, commissioner training before Karen leaves. You should have got an email from Carolina from that was forwarded from Karen or Mark. It's not mandatory, but it's strongly encouraged. And if you're new, if you haven't done it before, it is mandatory. But if you've done it before, it's not. Correct, Karen?
No, I'm not gonna agree with that one.
Okay.
So, but
Mark told us it wasn't mandatory.
I know, but
for current commission.
I don't agree with that. City of Chicago is ever changing. 4 years ago is not today. There's new stuff in the presentation, and we're all at home in our jammies. So it's not an hour.
Yeah,
it's going to be
on
more,
Zoom. It's tomorrow. You don't have to come downtown.
or it's the 20. What's
Yeah.
my day? I got 2 days.
You got
It's either
tomorrow and then one day next week.
Yeah. So, and it's interactive. Like we're not doing the talk, and then you ask Q&A at the end. It's the cat. It's questions, back and forth. It's more conversational than it is, a lecture. So I strongly encourage people to attend. And then when you need to jump off, you just jump off. That's my 2 cents, and I'm sticking to it.
Did you guys send the link? in the email?
I believe he did send it out, didn't he?
There wasn't a link. It was it was just an RSVP to Jennifer kind of deal, which I haven't even done myself yet. But yeah, I'll do that and then I'll forward around the Zoom link, I guess.
Cool.
Once she sends it to me, because yeah, I don't have a Zoom link for it either.
I will see him in the next meeting, and he sent a bunch of stuff out over the weekend. We had a 4-day weekend, so I know a lot of things went out.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure that's circled back with you all.
Okay.
I got a jet because I got a new
Yeah.
SSA getting on board, and they have their advisory committee meeting like right now.
All right.
Thanks a lot,
So-
I'll
Karen.
let you go. Thanks for
Say
being
hi
here.
to Gina for me.
Yeah.
You guys later.
Oh, we're still recording. I will. I certainly will. Thank you so much, ladies. It's always a pleasure to attend your
Thank you,
meetings.
Karen.
It's always great. Miss Mimi, I love your accent. I don't know where you're from, but I love it to death.
Thank you. I'm
you-
from Memphis.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
See, that explains. Yes, I
Yeah.
will chat with you, Sandy, a little later, and Cindy, I'll call you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
All right. So snow we covered. Next up, I did put an agenda item on here for the spring window decorating project. That's part of the reason why I had invited Mimi to join us here today. Her group got a grant. Was it AARP or was it one of the other ones?
It's from my block, my hood, my city.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So they got a grant to do a spring window decorating project and wanted to connect with businesses to potentially work together with the SSA on that. So I don't know how much detail, Mimi, you've got at this point to sort of share with the group.
Yeah, I can share a draft of our flyer that tells a lot, that will show you a lot of details. Here, I'll just share in the chat and you can look as
Oh,
I
cool.
just have a few details to, let's see, where's the chat? This is our planning document. I'll just share with you. So if you'll click on the draft.
Yeah, I just clicked on that. I don't know if folks can see my tab there where I just
Yeah,
opened
Okay,
it up.
awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, click on the open that up if you will. Whoops, there we go. That's okay.
Oh,
So this is an example of what we've modeled it after. Downers Grove has Halloween window painting annually, where they do it as a fundraiser. We're just doing it as a fun activity. We've been talking about all the snow and what a inconvenience the snow is.
one picture.
Soon it'll be spring, and we want our youth to get out and have fun. And as a teacher, I want to show how wonderful our youth are and get a better relationship with our local businesses and our young people. And Cindy, if you would, so that's just a picture of what it may look like. We will social distance, and so if you'll, let's see, click on where it says draft.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that should open. Yeah, thank you. So this is just a draft of our poster flyer that we're playing with. Howard Street Celebrate Spring window painting. We want to implement this on May 29th. We've got Willie B. White Park is going to be our headquarters, where we'll disperse the paints and brushes and caps. Our police department is gonna be involved. And then they'll have a presence. So I'm thinking from the train station to the park, to Willie B. White, where we'll ask the business owners if we can paint their storefronts.
Say that again. Where exactly?
I'm thinking from the train station to Willie B. White Park.
Uh-huh.
Possibly, we're meeting Thursday, possibly on North Paulina, where there's Dunkin' Donuts and there's Subway and a few other businesses, possibly there also. And then we have, since it's our first time to implement this, we have no idea how many youth are going to show up. So we'll also have some poster boards and things for them to paint if we run out of windows to paint. Irma from Willie B. White Park is going to help with asking the business owners if they would let us have their a little bit of window to paint. And to say thank you to the business owners, we'll have a gift card that they can either give to their window painter, or they can keep and paint their windows after we're done. So we've allocated a little bit of money for $25 gift cards for that.
Well, our business is up on the corner of Howard and Greenview, and I'd be happy to have you guys.
I would. Thank you, Charlotte. Then we'll go up to your business and paint. Absolutely.
Oh, right.
Thank you. Yes.
I look forward to that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
I
yes.
can't imagine that factory wouldn't be down with this. I mean, it's not my call to make,
Yeah.
but I mean, we're not open at all right now. So
Right.
I can't imagine. My only question would be, as far as the paint itself, so is that something where it's water soluble? So like ostensibly at the first rain, it's just going to get washed away.
Yeah. It won't last very long. It's tempera paint. Yeah.
Okay.
But I've been told that's the best. Like I've, asked Downers Grove what they did. And also I couldn't find a news clipping, but Northwestern does it for their
Homecoming.
For their homecoming. Yeah. And I've reached out to them, and they all say tempera paint is the best. And while it doesn't stay on well, like if you have some you want something to stay a long time, but it won't be messy and globby, but it'll be easy to come off. Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, do you know when you're going to start signing businesses up, or are you already doing that?
I wanted to talk to you guys first. I talked to, like I said, CAPS, and I wanted to talk to CAPS, Willie B. White Park, and then you guys, and after we meet, I'll go ahead and start soliciting businesses. Yeah.
Cool.
And
I'll give a heads up to the executive director at Factory, but I can't imagine that we wouldn't be happy to do this with our whole storefront.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then I don't know if they'd be interested in doing stuff with some of the vacant storefronts too. We might be able to reach out to some of those landlords to allow on a temporary basis to do some of this too, just to create more opportunities for the kids to do and beautify some of those spaces too.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Cindy. So do you have those will I give you the information and you ask them, Cindy, or do you?
I can reach out. I mean, some of them, like I know the building at where the currency exchange is, it's got some storefronts changed hands recently and is on the market again. So I can reach out at least to broker contacts and see if they're willing to get, in touch with owners.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do we want to maybe include Athena, especially if we do Lost Eras as another, I know it's out of that range, but she was so happy to participate in virtual Chalk Howard Street.
And where
then
is that?
1418 West Howard Street.
So that would be
closer to Sheridan.
Yeah, we could, because we've got some youth. I mean, I'll have to ask CAPS to see if that's too far, but we've got lots of youth that live over there, so that would be good for them to be able to just walk outside and have a space to paint. So that
she's really willing, at least from my experience, to participate and wants the exposure too. So just to have it on your radar, and then we should promote this too on Howard Street Facebook and Instagram and website. So any graphics or flyers or any information, I can make sure I can put my email in the chat.
Thank you.
If you want to send it to me, and of course Cindy too. I'm sure you have. But you can copy me on anything for ease.
And Charlotte, I'll get with you. Let's see. Charlotte, would you drop your email in the chat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's just the name of the store at Gmail.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Lost Eras at Gmail.
Yep.
And Lizzie, who did you say was the other person who's,
Patricia Gomez is the owner of Athena Board Game Cafe.
thank you. Oh yeah, I know exactly where they.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little bit off the
TGM
beaten
used to
path,
be
but
there.
still on Howard. Yeah, where TJM had been.
Yeah. Well, thank you for
Yeah, and
your
only if
time.
it works. I think
Yeah.
if she heard about it, I could see her wanting to be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And I think she has a student at Sullivan, a
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah, her daughter was a
Right.
Sullivan student.
Well, and I'm trying to get, I've reached out to Sullivan's art department, their art teachers, because I'd love to get their teen artist involved and to guide our younger artists. Our art teacher is gonna have a unit where we're gonna practice spring flowers, spring scenes, and so they'll be ready. But that would be great to collaborate with our teens.
Neat.
So I'll maybe she's got someone on the inside where we can get to the art teachers.
Right, exactly. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today, and we'll be in touch. I don't remember if I'd sent you these, but a couple of storefront spaces are on the market that I don't think were on my radar before that I was going to send
Okay.
your way.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Cindy. Thank you.
All right. Well, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I was going to leave the agenda up. There it is. Well, cool. The last sort of section that I've got was the sort of roundup of comings and goings on commercial real estate on Howard Street. So we've got a couple of new businesses on deck, which is really exciting. So Beauty Nova, I did reach out to them. They are taking the old Payless space in Gateway Center. So the Payless shoes that's there, sort of across from the Jewel. Going to be, I think a similar product assortment to I Am Beauty, hair extensions, wigs, that type of stuff. And then they're planning to open in the next couple of weeks. Legacy Barber College, I mentioned earlier, so that's the old Urban Warrior space right up next to the park in that building there. They're waiting on special use because of the proximity to Cali. But it's, Barber school. So they're, they teach in classes, but, eventually, like, because they've got to get their hours for licensure, the general public can go there and get their haircut like at a discount because it's students who are doing their training hours. So special use there. And then Howard Street Brewing, which I know has been coming soon for 2 years now. But I did talk with Chuck. He's waiting on health inspections and had a question about like basically setting up, whether he could use tile in a specific spot and was like waiting for health inspector to get back to him. So like, he's still saying spring. He's hoping to be open in the next couple of weeks. I hope that he's right. I want to have a brewery in walking distance of my house, as dangerous as that will be. But yeah, so 3 sort of new businesses on deck for Howard. And then the Vila shoes there. Sorry?
I didn't the Legacy Barber College, they're doing classes online from what I understand.
Yeah, he's sort of already doing like what virtual programming that he can do. He's got another location also in the suburbs. So this is the second storefront for him.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, cool dude. His name is Juan Rivera. And fun fact, I guess, he actually he did some time in prison. He was wrongfully convicted and got out. Like the Innocence Project at Northwestern like helped him get out. And this is his gig now. He does barber school. And
Yeah,
he's looking to get more involved with some of the nonprofits in the community, which is really exciting. So yeah.
While we're talking about new business, we've a lot of the people on the Howard Street neighborhood, they've been concerned about getting a building built on Howard and Ashland for affordable housing. So we've all created a petition that people are signing to explore ideas for affordable housing for the people of Howard Street and north of Howard. So we are circulating a petition for that.
Cool.
Charlotte, were you involved in the process for the Howard and Ashland site?
No, because quite honestly, we didn't have any idea that people were trying to keep it as a permanent garden. And there's so many people on Howard Street and in North Rogers Park that actually need affordable housing, that we thought that that's the direction that site was going towards.
Well, there's still going to be a community meeting in the next couple weeks, and
right.
Yeah,
we should
there
get
should be one
everybody
more.
who signed your petition to attend it.
Yeah.
Right. We've talked to the alderman's office about it, and I'm forwarding the petitions to them, and everybody has their email address on it.
Cool.
So hopefully, hopefully
get the word out when the next meeting does come up, because they're preparing for an RFP process, and then like once they get responses to the RFP, that'll kick off like probably another round of community meetings, like to see like what that is. So like it's not a done deal yet, but it is, sort of wrapping up the last phase of this particular engagement with Metro Planning that did this sort of community-led whatever, but the garden people sort of crashed it. So that's where we are. What else?
Well, there's a lot of people on Howard Street, and I think the alderman's office too is, interested in trying to get a building built there.
Yeah, I think they're aware that, like, as cool as it is to have a garden, like it doesn't need to be that entire parcel. And part of why the city is even doing an RFP is because they want to put it back into productive use, get it on the tax rolls.
Right.
And a garden doesn't do that. So,
well, it's not just that. I think it's a real issue is that if anybody's talking about open spaces, there's a giant open park right next to it.
yeah,
There's parks that have put aside property for gardening.
yeah,
So it's not like we actually do need affordable housing. It's a necessity. It's not like a garden, fine, it's only used for not even 6 months out of the year. We need to house people. And I think a petition with a lot of signatures is going to reflect that.
awesome. Yeah,
I'll
thanks
send it to
for
you. I'll email
doing
that
that.
to
And yeah, I mean, once I get, dates for any future community meetings, like I'll put those out on the email list. I know for the community meetings that were happening in the fall, I did send those out, but I think everyone was kind of zoomed out. So we had some participation from some of the businesses and landlords. So like Jay and Al Goldberg and some of them did participate in a couple of those meetings, but the turnout of garden participants was, I think, much larger than anyone really had expected. So more to come on that. The shoe store that is in Gateway Center is closed temporarily. They're remodeling and rebranding, but they are not going away. It's supposed to reopen in the spring. And then I don't know who knew this before and who didn't, but Soul Cafe, the business, is for sale. So Simone has listed that with a brokerage to sell the business. So the intellectual property, the equipment, taken over the remainder of the lease, which I think has 2 or 3 more years left on it with Jay. I think the asking price in the listing brochure was like $130, but Gina Caruso actually is the broker that's managing it, and said that she's willing to negotiate. But Simone hasn't been around a ton. There's been some turnover, and she's, I think, sort of focusing her attention on a couple of other business ventures right now. So she's looking to get out. We've shared that listing with a couple of other cafe operators in the area that we know are kind of looking for space. Helix Cafe is one of those. We also shared it with Taste of Heaven, a couple other folks, and some of the Grow program people that are interested in doing restaurant concepts. So hopefully, we'll get a good operator in there, whether it continues as Soul Cafe or becomes something else. there are no imminent plans that we're aware of to close Soul Cafe, you know, prior to finding a new buyer, owner operator. But we're keeping an eye on it. So they did do.
Is she actually open?
Yeah, she's been open. And they were closed for snow yesterday because no one could get out of their alleys. But they did just complete a BIP to replace the storefront glass that was damaged over the summer. So that project is done. I'm going to be putting in the check request this week. But yeah, if you know of anyone that wants to operate a small cafe and coffee shop, there's one for sale. As far as other things that are for sale, Renee mentioned the Beachview Liquors building, which wasn't on my radar previously. But as I've been working on upgrading our available properties sort of listing tool for the RPBA website. So I've been, you know, checking LoopNet and reaching out to brokers and landlords. And so we've got a new broker that's been retained to actively actually market the Dearborn Wholesale building, that block, which is between Damon and Sealy on the Howard side, on the Chicago side of Howard rather. Previously, the owner of that building was really kind of dodgy and never returned phone calls. I'd send people to him and they just wouldn't be able to get a hold of him. He would never return my calls because that's a large building. It's like 11,000 square feet plus a parking lot. It's got a full basement. And so now that they've got a broker, I actually have pictures of it, which is really neat. So it's the Dearborn Wholesale, sort of bunker looking building with no windows. And then also the several storefronts east of that. So Tasty Sub right now is I think the only one that's really actively being used. So it's Tasty Sub and the two buildings, the two storefronts immediately west of it. So that whole site's for sale at around $2 million.
And did you say that they have a new broker?
Yeah, I think it was so it previously was Nick at Cosmos Realty, who
he never returned calls. Would
not return anyone's calls for love or money. The new guy's name is David. He's at Keller Williams Commercial, and so he's got it posted on CoStar LoopNet. He's sent me marketing brochures and everything, which I've passed on to a couple of businesses that I know are looking for such a large footprint space. So that I've sent it to the Wild Onion Food Co-op folks, and also Vogue Fabrics in Evanston because they were looking to buy a new building. So we'll see if anything comes of either of those. But it's an interesting one because it's so large. And it could end up being that ends up becoming a development site. That's always a possibility, given the age of the building and the square footage. But we at least have a broker that talks to us now, which is great. I've had a couple phone conversations with him. And then the other for sale listing that popped up on my radar that I wasn't previously aware of. So the Currency Exchange building at Howard and Paulina, and then the storefronts east of it, the Bargain Paradise sort of area where Don Craig had been the contact before. That whole building is on the market, and it is being marketed in conjunction with the building on Paulina immediately north of that corner. So where the post office is, the little post office, and it's got, I think, some units above. Both of those buildings are being marketed together as a potential investment or redevelopment opportunity. They're also asking $2 million. So I have listing info for that. So yeah, so we've got 3 buildings now for sale on Howard Street, all asking about $2 million for varying, conditions and square foot, but keeping an eye on those. And that's in addition, obviously, to whatever, is going on with the Howard and Ashland site, although that nothing's really going to happen there right away just because there's all this community process happening. As far as other newly available spaces, Al Goldberg reached out to me. He's got office space in the bottom of his building there at the corner at Howard Ashland, so right across from the garden. There's office space on the ground floor sort of storefronty office that had been being used by Lita. Lita's out, so that's 2,300 square foot of office space that's newly on the market. And he's also got some office spaces upstairs as well.
Where
so
did
if you know
Lita
anyone
go?
looking for that.
Do
What's
you
that?
know? Do you know where Lita went?
He didn't say. I think they might have just consolidated into one of their other spaces.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
he had a, you know, really large operation there.
yeah. Yeah, it was for storefront office, like 2,300. It's a decent sized space. It's pretty much all of the frontage along Ashland behind the liquor store.
Mhm. Is Howe still in that building?
Yeah, they're upstairs. All right. That brings me to the end of sort of what I had on the agenda. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention and that I forgot to put on here. I looked up on the calendar for the 24th district when our beat meeting is. It's actually tonight is the beat meeting for Howard Street. So I might try to get on that Zoom call. Let me share the meeting information that I have from the website. Yeah, we don't have, you know, any updates. I know at the last big meeting that we had sort of with everybody, with Torrance and with our CPD contacts, we'd said we were going to try to get another meeting on the calendar for everyone to sort of chat with them in February, which is now, but it looks like that's not as likely to happen because Heather's on vacation. So we were trying to get another date with them. It hasn't materialized yet, but in the meantime, the regular beat meeting is today. So, so I'm going to try to get on that. It's at 7 tonight. And, you know, just trying to keep pressure on them as far as like getting us a new beat officer, like getting that person to come around and meet businesses, and deal with some of the challenges that we've been having on Howard the last, you know, year. But that's it for me. Anybody else have anything for the good of the order here?
Everything's great.
All right.
Keep on keeping on.
Cool. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right.
I'll second it.
All right. We are adjourned. Thanks everybody for coming out. And we will see you on St. Patrick's Day in March.
Cool.
Thanks a
Mimi,
lot,
thank
you guys.
so much for coming. It's nice to meet
Yeah.
you.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to meet y'all too. Yeah. We'll have fun painting and we'll make
Yeah.
it pretty. I promise we'll make it pretty.
I'll look
Yes.
forward to seeing your kids.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Charlotte. I'll be in touch. Thank
Okay.
y'all.
Thank
Cool.
you.